and we're back. It's the Celtic Unrestricted View. It's a big night preview with myself, Frank Clifford. Big night preview with Frank Clifford, Aaron Sterling and William Glavin. He's back again with the knowledge, the tactical pronouns, everything you want to call it. William, good to have you back on, mate. How are you? Hope you're very well.
Morning, guys. No, good. Glad to be back on today. How are you guys doing?
All good, mate. And I noticed I said big night preview twice. It was because it cut off on your system, and I thought it cut off on the live stream, but it didn't. So apologies for that. Aaron, how are you, mate?
Yeah, very well. Looking forward to a wee bit of expertise and a wee bit of insight through our good friend William. So that'll be very nice to know. Sorry,
you can't sit beside me today.
I know I can't copy anywhere, so I'll be sitting silent. But yeah, after the weekend, after that, was that a 3-1 victory, Ryan? Was it? Or was it 3-0?
3-0.
3-0. Well, I thought I seen it was 3-1 on this. Apologies for that yesterday. I think me and Ryan made a wee boo-boo. But these things happen when you're recording, so especially when Ryan's feeling a bit under the weather. Great morning. Looking forward to hopefully a positive performance and a positive result tonight. It's a kind of mammoth task ahead of us, obviously. But that's why we're at the top table. That's why we're in the Champions League. Play against the big boys. None of this Europa nonsense. So, yeah, looking forward to it. Hopefully a great game. Hope everyone that's watching as well, and you guys too.
Yeah, all good, mate. Just get some of the comments. You're not walking alone, Paradise, Monty Green and White, Jerry Burns, morning Ryan, Alan and William, SJ, morning everybody, and Paul Burrow, come on the hoops, good morning guys, hail, morning Paul, hope you're all well, tune in a nice Tuesday morning, I said yesterday, Monday morning, so my head was a wee bit scrambled yesterday, but we're a bit better now. Obviously William, the first leg, what was your thoughts on the first leg? Obviously, coming into the second half, do you think maybe with hindsight, Maeda should have probably started, maybe Jeffrey Sloop as well, because I thought it done well when he came on as well. But overall, mate, what was your thoughts after the first leg?
I think we came out the traps pretty quickly, didn't we? And I think they were obviously told to do that. There was obviously an initial focus on the left-back Guerrero for Bayern Munich to really try and exploit the space behind them, and we've done that within the first, I think it was 20-30 seconds, obviously being taken off for offside. But I think you could see, to sort of summarise it, Bayern are such a good team, aren't they? See the way they just knock the ball about, it's effortless. The boy Joshua Kimmich and Goretzka in the middle of the park were really just controlling the whole game from the middle of the field. I think as well, when we were getting on the ball and trying to do our build-up, their pressing was pretty impressive. The way they come at you at speed, and it's like they come in 2s and 3s. Everybody does it in terms of pressing as a block. They're so good at it. They recognise the trigger right away. But I felt we were in the game up until they scored. I felt we were in it. I felt Greg Taylor could have done better at the goal. I think that obviously Elise, what a strike it is. I can't take it away for that guy. That strike was phenomenal. But for him to get into space and get in the inside of him, and really there was a lane created there almost between, a left centre back and Greg Taylor that he got through there. But I think Greg Taylor could have dealt with that a bit better. But at that point we were in the game. It was a wee bit of a sucker punch, I think, to lose the goal the way we did just right before half time. The second goal they scored, Harry Kane, I don't know how the hell he was left on his own. It's obviously a miscommunication, a misunderstanding between the Celtic players, who's picking up who, and he's obviously been left, unfortunately. One of those things that happens. Again, I think it just sort of highlights the fact that you cannot make mistakes at this level. If you make mistakes at this level, you're punished. So I think from that perspective, but then I think once we made some changes, I think Brendan made some positive changes, put Maeda through the middle, brought Jota on, Schlupp came on, thought he looked a wee bit nervous first 5 minutes, but then he sort of came into the game a lot more. I think we caused them problems. I really, Dyer and Upamecano were having nightmares about Maeda that night. He was on them so quickly to the point they're going, whoa, what's going on here? Either wasn't doing that in the first half to us. They were shaky. Neuer didn't want the ball back either because he was obviously shutting them down. So it was good that we got the goal back. I think we deserved to get a goal back, to be honest. It keeps us in the tie, but it's definitely going to be a really, really tough challenge over there because, like I said, you actually seen, but if you think back to when we scored, every time Bayern got the ball, they slowed it down. All the passes slowed down, the transitions all slowed down. They're basically trying to take the sting out of it because they knew if it was going to be like a toe-to-toe boxing match with us, we could obviously get the goal back because we were right up for it and we were on them. So I think they really tried to slow everything down and sort of kill the game. But I think that's credit to how Celtic actually played. They actually took that approach towards the end of the match.
Yeah, obviously, Alan, we did obviously speak about, obviously, I think it was you, Barry Bannon and JP were on after the game, and obviously myself, I said to you as well, I thought Greg Taylor was at fault. I don't think you could actually defend him for it. I know people were saying it was the bit of deflection off him and at least but like we spoke about yesterday, if his body position is right and he's aware of it, takes 2 or 3 steps back, he's in position to be set to tackle Alicia or at least jockey him and at least show him down the line, and obviously it didn't happen. What was your thoughts on the game, Alan, and what's your thoughts on this game? Can you see weaknesses in Bayern that we can get at, i.e. playing Maeda through the middle, but obviously as well, like William says, if we do get an early goal or we do concede, then they have to get the experience to slow the game down, make it quicker, do the dark arts in European football that maybe we just start to get into, start to learn. They did that in abundance. So how do you think that game went and how do you think that goes now into this game?
Yeah, I thought overall the positives in the first game outweighed the negatives. I thought we put, considering the opposition that we're up against, I thought we put in a pretty decent performance. I thought the majority of the team played really well. You're looking at, I said last week, obviously, Williams reiterating it just now. Joshua Kimmich was just an absolute Rolls Royce of a player. He just strolls the game as if you don't even realise what he's actually doing. He makes it look so effortless that he's controlling the game. He reminds, maybe not exactly the same kind of style, but the way that you never noticed how good a player that the likes of Claude Makelele and N'Golo Kante were, that they sit in the background and just pull all the strings and make everything work. I was really, really impressed with. They're all world class players, but especially Kimmich. I thought obviously it changed when we started playing Maeda through the middle. You've seen that. Williams obviously said about the defenders were having nightmares. I think Manuel Neuer as well. We spoke about that, the amount of times that Dyson get very, very close to kind of nicking the ball off Neuer. So I would like to think that we've noticed that and we play from the start with kind of Maeda through the middle, because I think that was probably, you've seen that was more effective than playing Almeida, whether that is quality level or whether that is that Bayern are more comfortable, their defenders are more comfortable kind of playing against a big striker, shall we say, no, somebody that's more kind of nimble and quick on their feet. So, as I said before, it's a mammoth task, monumental task tonight. With the early goal thing, watching Brendan's interview, I don't think we're going to go for that. I think it'll be more the approach like Atalanta. I think we might kind of sit in the worst case scenario, see if we can get to maybe 70, 75 minutes and we're still level, then you go for it. But I think probably you'd want to stay in the game as long as possible, stay in the tie. And there's no doubt about it. I think a lot of the night we're going to be hiding behind the couch. The Bayern Munich team are going to have the high majority of possession. So it's not impossible, right? These results can happen, and it's been shown in the past that these results can happen. But there's no doubt about it. We are massively up against it with the quality that Bayern Munich possess.
Obviously, William, the last game they played against Bayer Leverkusen at the weekend there, I had to get a wee bit of stick for the media. They didn't really do well. Not a lot of shots on target. Not a lot of kind of efforts at goal. I don't know if Harry Kane's fit. I know Cumberland maybe sees a day off. I know he got injured, but well, no, that's just a smoke screen just to see he's no fit or no. I don't know, but I'd imagine he'll try everything to get him fit. But do you think we can take anything from that? I know they're playing Bayer Leverkusen. We don't play that quality in Scotland, so they're playing against our opposition similar level to them, and its players the similar level. So they're going to be hard games, but can we take anything from that you can, like you say, in the first leg, we found weaknesses, but is there anything in that game that we can look at and try and exploit? Because I'd imagine that Celtic would have been watching that game.
Yeah, I think there is things we can learn from that game as well. Like if you look at the last, I think it was 25 minutes of the game just before we scored, we put them under a lot of pressure, especially on their defensive line, and you could see that they were struggling. They were struggling to what to do with the ball, how to keep the ball. Don't get me wrong, they tried to then slow it down because they knew that our press was becoming effective, especially with Maeda up top. If we look at the game, if anyone's seen the game at the weekend, Bayer Leverkusen effectively kept them in their own half through pressing throughout the whole game, which basically nullified anything they tried to do. So effectively, if Celtic can get the pressure right on the pressing and doing it as an entire block and try and keep them within their own half or within the middle of the field, that will limit their chances that they can have on our goal. I think that's the approach tonight, to be honest, because I think we have it in us to do that. We've done that against Leipzig very, very successfully, and they couldn't even get near us. So I think that the key to this tonight is being effective with our pressure and regaining possession. And when we regain possession, then affect them and hit them on the transition. I think that's what's got to happen tonight.
What's your thoughts on that, Alan? That William says, you think that's the approach that Brendan will go with, or do you think he's got another idea on his mind? Because for me, I think no matter what we do tonight, I think you could be damned for doing the defensive work and damned for going attacking, because I think it could be the case again with Dortmund. If you make a mistake, you're punished. I think they're that good of a team, they're that world class of a team that
I think as well. I think if you sit in against them and let them play, then that's when they pick you apart. I think from looking back on the first leg, that the amount of time we gave them on the ball, if you think about the Elise goal, they just knocked the ball about side to side for a period of time. Noticed that then there was a space, hut the ball long to Elise and got him one-on-one with Taylor. Once he was one-on-one, he was winning it, and then he's getting a shot on goal. I think if we try and sit back at them, they effectively just move the ball side to side in the park and find a space and then basically exploit it. I think if you get in their face, I think they don't like it, and I think that's what Leverkusen done at the weekend.
What's your thoughts on that, Alan?
I think we're caught between a rock and a hard place. I understand if we're going to press them and pressurise them, make them feel uncomfortable. Yeah, would love to see that happen, but at the same time, if we're pressing them with 3 or 4 players and they manage to play through that press, then we're in deep trouble. I was going to say another word there, but we're in deep trouble. So I'm sure Brendan will have some sort of plan organised how he wants to set up. As I say, a rock and a hard place because we're up against it massively in terms of quality levels. I think even if we I completely understand what William's saying, if we play that, we can make them feel uncomfortable, but is there a point that they play through and then they just score goals for fun?
The defo is, Alan, like that's it's a high risk, high reward strategy, mate. There's no doubt about that. One thing about this team as well is you'll get in behind them. We will get in behind them at points because they sit so high. So we will get opportunities on goal. But this is the thing for me with Celtic in Europe. It's about not making mistakes and it's about taking your chances. That's what Celtic are doing tonight, I think. But it definitely, I agree with what you're saying, mate. They could easily play a bounce pass and play right through our pressure. And then we'll get an overload against our defence, and then we're up. Was it a paddle in a river? Do you know at that point? But I think I totally agree with you. But I just think, do you know what? It's a one-off game. It's a cup final for us. Just have a go.
I think there'll probably be a more. We will go for it. It's just Brendan says as well we'll leave everything on the pitch, but I think there will be a slightly more pragmatic approach. When you look at the opposite side, the defensive side as well, we were basically 45 seconds away from getting 0-0 at half time as well. They absolutely bossed the possession that first half, and without that kind of minute before half time and the Greg Taylor mistake, shall we say, we would have been really positive going in at kind of half time at 0-0, and then we come out crazy kind of no Martin, Harry Kane, as we've spoken about. The goals are on 45 minutes, but just before half time, and 49 minutes just after half time. So it's two awful times to concede goals. So if we were to go defensive, I think it is within our capabilities. We've shown last week it was just kind of minor errors. Well, it was errors towards goal at bad times that kind of took us away and made it. We ended up kind of 2-0 down. But we have got the capabilities to press these teams as well. You see, when, especially if we play kind of Dyson Maida through the middle, you look how effective he can be at pressing, playing that position. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Brendan Rodgers plays. But as you say, Ryan, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. So either way, we're going to be up against it. But just let's hope that the mastermind, Brendan Rodgers, can somehow think of some sort of tactics and way of playing that we can get a positive result tonight.
So to see JP's out his bed, eh? See your Dave Fernandez, that one. Good morning, Jane. Hope you're well, mate. Aye, William, just tick us off, mate. Just let us know. Obviously, I'll put in any of the slides you've got for us.
I think obviously, yeah. So I think touching on the game from the weekend, if you want to bring up the stats from the weekend against Bayer Leverkusen, who Bayer Leverkusen are a very good side, well-drilled side under Xabi Alonso. But I would say on paper, Bayern Munich are probably the better team. But if you look at the stats from the weekend, obviously nothing to straw, but you can see that their XG, Bayern had some good chances in the game. Bayern Munich had very little, if nothing, with 0.09. If we go down here, you can see possession. Bayer Leverkusen had a bit more possession than Bayern Munich, which is a bit unheard of this year as well, because Bayern have been dominating possession. But one of the key things to look at here, if you look at pressures and pressure regains, pressures are roughly the same, but look how many regains Bayern had in the game, Bayer Leverkusen had in the game, 57 to 39. So they were turning over the ball more. So Bayer Leverkusen were winning the ball off Bayern Munich a lot more. If you bring up the next slide, mate, with the pressure map, if you don't mind, Ryan, I'll just talk about the pressure regains. So looking at the heat map here, the red areas are the more intensive pressure. So if you imagine Bayer Leverkusen's goal is on the left-hand side goal here, shooting towards the right, shooting towards Bayern Munich's end. So everywhere you can see red there is basically Bayern Munich's defensive third, the Bayer Leverkusen attacking third here. Look at the pressures that have been applied here. We can see there's a lot of pressure put on Bayern's left back. It may have been Guerrero at the weekend. I can't remember if it was. I think it was. And then obviously centre backs and right back, you can see the amount of pressure they're putting them under. They were turning the ball over there and then creating chances from that. So if you go to the next slide, if you don't mind, Ryan, as well, if you look at just the average positions of the game, this is completely unheard of in the Bundesliga this year. If you look at Bayern Munich on the right-hand side, they couldn't even get their half. That's basically what that positions is telling you, how far back they were in that game. You can see Bayer Leverkusen are way up, basically moving into the attacking third there. So Bayer Leverkusen had a right good go at them at the weekend. To be honest, they probably should have won the match. I think Munich done well to get out of the game with a point. Just Leverkusen couldn't take their chances. But that shows you if you put this team under pressure at the front, especially onto the two centre-backs, it's actually Kim and Upamecano played at the back at the weekend. You can put them under real pressure and you can get opportunities.
What's your thoughts on that, Alan? Anything that's you want to ask William? Anything that you've seen interesting?
Oh, yeah, it's very interesting. You're looking at, can we get up to the level that kind of Leverkusen? Maybe not, but can we be anywhere near that's going to put pressure under Bayern Munich? I think we are capable of kind of causing them problems. We've seen that. Last week at certain times of the game. We were capable of causing them problems. After that game, William, we're looking for it. I know it's been kind of spoke about. Harry Kane might not make it, but is there any other injury worries they've got? Do you know anything of that?
Not at the minute. I think it could be roughly the same team that started at Celtic Park, other than the Kane. I know Kane's a doubt. I've got a feeling he'll play though. I've just got this feeling that he's going to play, because if it was maybe 2-0 or 3-1, they would maybe no risk him. But I've got a feeling they'll go with him. I think you're right in what you're saying. I think Rodgers will take a bit of a pragmatic approach in this game, that they'll not do this from the off. won't go and press high from the off. I think the key thing they'll probably say to them is don't lose the first goal and try and get through the first 20 minutes of the game, and then try and suss out when's the right time to then hit them, basically. And I think
it's probably judging that's what I was going to say. It's probably judging the correct time to press, the correct time to try and put them under pressure.
Yeah,
because
he might leave it to the second half. Do you know what I mean? He might just say, let's get through the first half, try and keep compact, tight. But as you can see at Parkhead, they'll just keep the ball for fun. Do you know what I mean? So it's a really difficult challenge tonight, I think, for Rodgers and the coaching team, how they approach it. My approach is, I think that we definitely do that, maybe for the first 15, 20 minutes, and then have a right go at them. Because listen, right now, no one expects us to get through. If you look at everyone in European football, no one expects us to get through here tonight. So I think we need to try and make it as difficult as we can for this Bayern side. But there's no doubt, like, this team have got so much quality about them that they can definitely overturn that pressure on you. Do you know what I mean? They can then play that pass to take 3 players out of the game. So it will be an interesting one. But I think, like, if we take the example for Bayer Leverkusen, who 100% are a really, really good side, one of the best sides in Europe at the minute, and they were at home, which is a big factor in this. That you can make them uncomfortable. You can suffocate Bayern Munich if you do it in the right way and execute it properly.
I was really impressed with their right back, obviously, last week, especially the pace that he had as well. It seemed to be matching kind of Dyson Maeda at times.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting many people to kind of match that acceleration and that pace. But I don't know if you agree, William, but see when we brought Jota on and he was on that wing, Jota's obviously not anywhere near as fast, but his trickery seemed to give that right back slightly more problems than we were when Maeda was put on that side. I think obviously if we are planning on playing Dyson through the middle tonight with Jota at that side, it's possibly a route that could be slightly effective for us.
I think what happened there was Lima kind of knew what he was up against in Maeda. There was obviously speed, but Lima is very, very quick as well. But because I think Jota is more on the ball, come inside, go inverted, I think it gave them a wee bit of a challenge to then go, right, who's picking up who? I think whether it was Upamecano or Lima, who's getting Jota when he comes inside. So we did cause a wee bit of confusion, I think, there. I think you can definitely see Celtic's approach was to try and pinpoint Guerrero at the left back, try and get him out of position and get Kuhn onto the ball there, or get Johnson on an overlap through there. So I think Jota starts for me tonight, Alan. Like, I think we go Jota, I think we go Maeda up top, and really try and just start the game really the way we finished in terms of how we played, because we did cause them problems.
I would hope so, because we're not bringing down kind of Almeida, but I felt as if Maeda was far more effective through the middle when he come on, when he moved to that position. And whether it is that they're kind of centre halves or maybe used to kind of a bigger striker, somebody that's maybe not as quick as the likes of Dyson Maeda. So I would like to think that we would change it up and put Maeda through the middle tonight.
A wee question here, William. It's from our good man JP. William said, Celtic hurt Bayern for the middle last week. If our counter press is more intensity, is that where we can get the joy?
Yes, and I think it needs to be done at the right time. So it needs to be the right moment to then counter press them. I don't think, because Bayern are so good on the ball and so good at keeping the ball, I don't think we should constantly counter press them. Like, when I say we need to try and suffocate them and really keep them in their own half, we've got to do it. Like, we've got to box cover really when we do it. Do it at the right moments. Do it with the right triggers. If we need to then fall back a little bit and then let them play between their two centre backs, let them do it. But I do think we really did hurt them, especially when Maeda went through there. Maeda caused them all sorts of problems. They were really nervous, as you said, Alan. Like, Neuer didn't want the ball back. Like, Neuer was getting the ball back, and then Maeda was right beside him. So I think that for me, that's got to happen. I think, like, obviously playing Adamida, I think Maeda gives you more off the ball than what Adamida does at the minute. I think Maeda's obviously a more experienced player as well. He plays that role for Japan. You can obviously see it. It's quite seamless for him to move into that position. And he actually does that high press intensity for Japan as well. So I think obviously he does still getting used to playing at this level. It's a big, big game. So I think it's got to be Maeda through there for that press to be effective for me.
The thing that I noticed, like for that heat map there, William, obviously the left hand side, obviously that's against Leverkusen, so they are superior to us in terms of quality, and they probably play a different style to be playing. Obviously they're at home, so there's more impetus in them to go into the game to Bayern Munich. But I thought like the guy Guerrero last week, I think I said to the guys before the game that I think we can get at him. I don't think we've done it enough, really, because I did watch the game before that, and he wasn't the best. I don't know if he will play. He might play. It might be the same team as you say, mate. But do you think, according to that heat map there, which is obviously telling you the stats of the game and how the game was played, do you think that's somewhere that he might actually, I know he might not do it, but if he was going to play either, could he potentially play Maeda on the other side to try and cause any issues?
I don't think he will, mate. I really think that Maeda will cause them problems through the middle more. And I think if they do that, if Maeda's pressing the guys up at the top through the middle, you're expecting that whether it's whether it's Kuhn and Jota down the sides, they'll be doing the same thing. They'll be putting the fullbacks under pressure to try and close off any of those passes that go there, trying to force Bayern to go long or go back to Neuer and go long. So that's the whole idea, to try and get the ball back, or hopefully one of them make a mistake and we can then capitalise on it. But I think Celtic definitely had a strategy to target Guerrero and also get Kuhn on the ball. I'd like to see Kuhn get on the ball a bit more. I think he started off amazing. I think he kind of took a little dip, but it was really hard for us to get control of the ball in the first half. In the second half, he got on the ball a wee bit more and he was causing Guerrero some problems. I'd like to see him get more one-on-one opportunities against him.
There's a question there from Jerry Burns. He says, do you think Eric Dyer, William Allen, is the weakest defensively? Dyer could unsettle him. For me, I actually thought Eric Dyer strolled last week. I think Eric Dyer's a good football player. I think they get some unjust criticism saying he's not good enough for leaving Spurs, and I think he's a good player. I don't know if he's a defender, if he's more a midfielder. I don't know the way, obviously, he's playing there now, but I think people say about Eric Dyer, in my opinion, he walks into the Celtic team. He's that good. He's experienced and he's calmness, and he might not be technically brilliant, but to play at Bayern Munich, you've got to have some sort of ability to play at that level. So I did think he got unsettled though, like you said, William, with Maeda. I thought Rodgers done it a bit late. I thought if he'd done it maybe 10 minutes earlier, into 60 minutes, or even started the game like that, I'm not saying we'd have won the game, but I think we'd have caused them more issues, and I think they maybe seen that where, like you said, with the boy Lammer as well, when Alan says when he put Jota out wide, I thought he caused him a bit, no issues, but it got him thinking a bit more, because like you said, with Maeda, it's no straight as you go, but you know what he's going to do. He's going to run, he's going to chase, but with Jota, he's going to go left, right, inside. You don't know where he's going to go because it's a brand new opponent. You don't know where he's going to go. So what's your thoughts on that, William?
I think Eric Dyer is a good defender for me. Was I surprised Eric Dyer signed for Bayern Munich? Yes, I was. I didn't think Eric Dyer was like the type of defender that would play for Bayern Munich, put it that way. I think he does get a lot of criticism. He had a lot of criticism at Spurs. I think he's done okay since he's been at Bayern. As far as I'm aware, he's been a good defender for them and he's done well. I don't think he's an elite defender at European level, but like he can manage a game. That being said, I felt he was under a lot of pressure from Maeda and he struggled a bit with it. But I'm going to say the same thing for Upamecano, who I think is a great defender. He really struggled as well with it. I don't think either of them knew how to deal with him or realised how quick he was about, being on top of them in terms of him coming in with pressure. So do I think he's the weakest link defensively? I don't think he is. I think Guerrero probably is at left back, because Guerrero likes to get forward and he leaves a lot of space there that then leaves Dyer quite isolated. But that's just the way they play. So I think this is the key thing with the counter pressing. If we can win the ball back in their half when Guerrero's pushing forward, it's going to create space there for Kuhn to get in behind and pull Dyer out of position as well. So that's the key area that I'd be focused on. That's what that pressure map showed you what Bayer Leverkusen were doing. Though I don't think that looking back on that game, I don't think Dyer played. It was the boy Kim. So I think they obviously made a couple of changes, bearing in mind the Celtic game was at the weekend, so, or maybe off the back of the players playing during the week. But I do think that Guerrero's the man to get at, I think, in terms of the defence.
Put this one to yourself, Alan. GD says, I feel Slip has to start tonight. Might not work out, but got to try. We already know from experience Taylor gets targeted and repeatedly exposed at this level. Have to go for Slip, go for it and play Slip at left back. What's your thoughts on that, mate?
I would agree. Yeah, I think we spoke about it a number of times, and we spoke about it yesterday as well. We feel that Greg Taylor's it's no slight or no criticism on Greg Taylor, but we feel as if he's no really up to that level. We've only seen a limited amount of time for Jeffrey Schlupp, but from what I've seen so far, we can't make full judgment. But from what I've seen, it looks as if he's got the attributes that can maybe deal with the kind of situations we faced against Bayern better tonight than maybe Taylor did last week. So for me, I would probably put Schlupp in. I feel as if he's got more of a physicality. Maybe defensively he's better as well. From what I've seen, as I say, we've not got much of a template to kind of judge him on. It's only been a couple of games, obviously, but at the end of the day, he's got that experience of playing kind of year on year in the English Premier League as well. So that's got to bode well for Jeffrey Schlupp coming up against a kind of a good Bayern Munich side in a top competition. So yeah, Taylor gets targeted a lot of the time, whether that be for his quality level or for his height. But we seem to, well, no, maybe seen it as much now because we get trusted at that side. But especially when Scales and Taylor were on that left-hand side, domestically and European-wise, that was consistently getting targeted that side more. So for me personally, I would play Jeffrey Schlupp tonight at left back. I could see the opposite going, that Taylor starts as well because Brendan's trusted him for a longer period of time. But if it was my decision, which it's not, but if it was my decision, I would play Jeffrey Schlupp at left back tonight.
Similar question, William, to yourself. It's from Martin Anderson. Boys, here's a question. Would you play Schlupp ahead of Taylor? As for me, the B man is the weakest link, and as for Schlupp, he's more dominant and stronger, pacey. Very impressive so far from big man Hill.
I think Schlupp starts with me tonight. I think that Jeffrey Schlupp, I think looking at him from a physicality point of view, he looks a lot stronger than Greg Taylor, even just looking at his frame. I think that, as I said, he came on in the game last week and he looked a little bit nervous, a couple of wee touches here and there, but he settled quite quickly in the game, and I thought he'd done okay when he came on. I totally agree. I think Greg Taylor is definitely a weak link in Europe for us. I'm thinking going back to games Lazio at Parkhead, even Lazio away, he could have done a lot better. With that cross he could put in the last minute at Parkhead. There's numerous games you could go back and look at that he should do better on. I think Greg Taylor, obviously it looks like he's going to be moving on anyway, but I think Greg Taylor's level is domestic for us, really. I think in Europe he struggles, and I think that's no slight on him. I just think that he's been a great player for us. He's done really well and been a big part of your success. I'm not going to knock him, but I just think that Europe's a bridge too far for him in Champions League level. Europa League level maybe, but I think Champions League, you can see it, that he just struggles. Like that goal last week from Elise, we're talking about like his body positioning is wrong. I don't really think he was aware of where Elise was, but he actually plays him onside. He's the furthest guy back. And I'm like, you're a fullback. You should not be playing anyone onside. You should be following the line. Everybody else has stepped up and he's maybe a couple of steps behind. And that couple of steps is what allows Elise to get in. So definitely Schlupp for me tonight. I think we give him a go, and I think we give him a run the team, to be honest, going forward.
And obviously, Alan, we'll touch on obviously the team league as the podcast is on, the show goes on. But in terms of obviously we've spoken about defensively, for me, Alan, I think midfield's obviously key as well. I know every part of the team's key, but I think in terms of how we compact the midfield as well, Hatate, he looked bust last week, and then he got a wind. And the last 10-15 minutes, he went on again. He looked absolutely knackered. So at the end of the game, I'd imagine it'll be the same similar performance he'll need to put on tonight. He's, as the manager says, he'll need to put everything on the park tonight. Engels, he'll need to show up as well. Again, that's why you pay the money for him. I think Engels he's got a bit about him. I think he's got a bit of strength about him. He's got a bit that no nastiness, but he can put a tackle in. He's got the experience, obviously, playing in Germany. That the occasion won't kind of hang with him. He's played there before. He knows that the team. He knows the fan. He knows how to play there. So it's maybe good having him and the team as well going away over there, because he knows that surrounding as well. So that'll help us. To maybe some of the guys who have not played there before. But I think as McGregor as well, he'll need to put up a good performance, being the captain as well. He'll need to solidify the midfield, because, like we say, guys like Kimmich and stuff like that, they will have the ball, but there's got to be a stage where you go and get the ball and don't let them pat. You need to then go and intercept it if you can, but you don't want to do it too quick, Alan, because if you do that, like I've says, if you try and go press too quickly, bump, you're through, and it could obviously be a death empty. So, but I think midfield, Alan, I know that's Paul Michael and stuff, but midfield for me is probably the keyest part of any game, because if you get the midfield right, I think that kind of helps you in the game, because we always say against when you play them across the water here, Rangers, that if McGregor plays well and the midfield does well, you normally win the game. So I think that will be a help to you in the game tonight.
Yeah, definitely agree. You look at most games, the battle in the midfield, that usually dictates who takes the points at the end of the day. They've got kind of, I'd probably say, watching that game last week, that's one of their most talented parts of the team. I was bedazzled, is maybe a bit far, but I was very impressed with Joshua Kimmich and Goretzka with it.
Aye.
So you're looking at, I think quality wise, we probably get one of the best midfield threes that we've had for a number of years. That's just my personal opinion. I'm looking at, I think the three of them kind of pick themselves. I think we've obviously got a couple of players and squad players and Paulo Bernardo and Luke McCowan, but I think the three that we're going to pick in Cal McGregor, Hatate and Engels, I think they're at a very high level, especially for the quality that we usually have at Celtic. So yeah, it's within their capabilities to win that midfield battle. It's going to be exceedingly tough for them to do that because of the quality they're up against. But yeah, we're going to need another performance like last week in terms of effort from all three of them. You've seen how kind of done in, tired, exhausted that Hatate and Engels were at the end of that game. So it's going to take another monumental kind of effort like that, and the amount of work they're going to put in to try and kind of keep Bayern's midfield at bay. But they are talented players, and they have got capabilities to rise to such levels. So here's hoping they can put in a great performance tonight, and if we can at least match that midfield battle, then it goes a long way to get a positive performance and a positive result.
Pretty good one here for you, William, from JD. I quite agree with him, to be fair. I was impressed with his overlapping, i.e. Jeffrey Sloop. Clearly as a goal threat from distance too. Everyone said how good Olise was last week. So I'd imagine what he said is surely it's common sense not to put in the same opponent, knowing that he can do the same thing and he knows his weakness already. But if you play Jeffrey Sloop, what they might not expect, it's a new opponent, doesn't know how Jeffrey Sloop works. I know they'll maybe analyse it, but if you've not played against him before, I know he played. Did he know? I don't know if he played him at Palace, did he actually? Jeffrey Sloop. Or was it QPR he played with?
I think he was there though, was he not there?
Right, so he'll know Jeffrey Sloop in terms of training with him, going against him, but it's a new opponent in terms of the game. Like for last week, Taylor, he knows Taylor can make that mistake, but with Jeffrey Sloop, new opponent, I know he's played against him, so it might not be as fresh as an opponent because he's played with him, he knows how his speed and stuff like that, but it might be just a new idea to play him just to see how he goes against him.
I don't think there's any harm in it. I think when we signed it, we spoke about this off the pod, Ryan. Jeff Lassoup's a good signing for us because he brings experience in. He's bringing a bit of physicality into that position. I think that he's obviously played at a high level for such a long time, obviously playing in the Premier League. So he was a good signing for us to come in and help us and help bolster that position. I think, depending on how the approach is tonight from Brendan, I think he will look for a bit more solidity in that area. And obviously, but you'd expect Greg Taylor not to make that mistake again. You'd expect him to have sat at Lennoxtown and went through that and went, right, I don't need to do that this time. I need to do it a bit differently, and I need to get my body shape right. Any professional player would do that. That being said, one thing that Greg Taylor does do is when we've got the ball, he'll step into midfield and become that extra midfielder to try and help us circulate the ball through their midfield. We would probably lose that, but then that being said, as the question obviously came in, Jeffrey Schlupp can obviously overlap a lot more and get down the outside of probably Jota, if we're talking about tonight for me. So that then would allow Jota to then come inside a lot more and affect the game more that way. Because when we've got Maeda does like to come inside, but he does like to go down the outside as well. So I think that Schlupp coming in and running down the wing, creating those overlaps, will then give free rein to Jota to then move inside, which will then give them a problem in that area of the field. And then hopefully we've got a little overload within their final third that we can then get a couple of shots off or play a couple of passes through to Maeda. So I think that's the approach I would be taking tonight. Obviously, as I said, Greg Taylor should learn from the mistake that he had last week. I'm pretty sure he would have digested it and analysed it and went through it all to obviously make himself get better and look at the approach. So if he does start tonight, I'd like to think he wouldn't make that mistake again.
Quite a good point here. I can see why he's put it across. Put himself first, Alan. MT Celtic says Taylor has earned the right to play at this level. He's part of that team that got us to knockout stages. Dropping players who have earned the right to play is bad for the dressing room. For me, I can get the point, MT Celtic, but for me, it's about you play the best players that's available and the best players that's going to help you. I said it last week that Jeffrey Schlupp should have played because I feel he's a better player than Greg Taylor. He's more experienced than Greg Taylor in terms of playing the Premier League. I know maybe not European football, but he's played at a higher level in terms of the Premier League every week and down south. And I just feel it's more to the point that he was brought in to help the team. He was brought in, i.e. Jota. I thought he should have started last week as well. They're the guys that have been brought in. It's not about making guys happy. It's not about loyalty. It's not about being nice to these guys. Football's ruthless. So if somebody's better than you or better in training or somebody's been brought in who's better than you, then you play them. Doesn't matter how well you've done in the past. It gives you credit at the bank that you're a good player and we can trust you. I get his point. Like maybe whip somebody like saying to Greg Taylor, right, that's your best because of one mistake, right? It's no nice and might demoralise him for the rest of the season. I get that. I get it. But for me, listen, I played in teams years ago where maybe the main player was out for 6 weeks. As soon as he's fit, he's back in. That's the way football works. It's not about, for me, football's gone with loyalty and all that now. It's about putting the best team on the park for that game. And for me tonight, Jeffrey Schlupp is the better man to play tonight. That's just tonight. I'm not saying overall. Tonight, I feel Jeffrey Schlupp, Alan, is the best player to play. I could look silly and Jeffrey Schlupp can make a mistake and then I go, right, maybe it was right to play him. But you can only go in hindsight for what you've seen for last week and what you've seen at the weekend. The Jeffrey Schlupp looks the better option tonight. That's just what I feel, Alan.
No, I tend to agree. I think that when you're making the choice, say a starting 11, emotion has to be taken completely out of that agenda. That can't come into the equation whatsoever. If Brendan thinks that somebody's suited for this fixture more than the next person, whether that be a left back or another position, then you go with whoever you think's going to do the job in the night or who's going to be the best player to gain a positive result. For me, I've said numerous times that we've always seen kind of Jeffrey Schlupp a limited amount of time. But from what I've seen, do I think that Jeffrey Schlupp stands a better chance of kind of defending better in tonight's game? I do. I believe that. Whether Brendan believes that's a different question. Greg Taylor, he has been a good servant for the club. We bought him for $3 million for Kilmarnock, but at the end of the day, as William says, it's probably domestic level. But every player's got a ceiling usually, and you're looking at Greg Taylor's ceiling. Is that beyond the quality of the domestically, and is that for European football? I don't know, because it seems to be a position that's definitely getting targeted. From what I've seen in the last couple of games, would Jeffrey Schlupp be better to kind of combat that? I believe so. So for me, it's not about emotion. It's not about what somebody's done in the past. For me, Brendan should be choosing tonight. what's going to be the most effective first 11? What first 11 is going to stand us the best chance to get a positive result, positive performance? And I go with, I don't think Taylor will be back. Taylor will be away, Toby. So, but for tonight, I would, just in my opinion, I would definitely tend to side with kind of starting off with Jeffrey Sloop.
I get what JP's saying. Obviously, listen, this isn't the Greg Taylor show, do you know what I mean? It's not about downing Forrest, Taylor, Scales, anybody. It's not about downing players. But the facts are, and the data shows you that when it gets to big games like this, yes, every player
It's
makes
not
mistakes.
good enough at that level.
But
It's as simple as that.
the mistakes happen a lot at the left-hand side. Rangers targeted us at Ibrox on the left-hand side. Every team does it. Most teams know that Celtics. So it's not. We're not just saying this because we don't like Greg. I get there's guys who like Greg Taylor and they like Eder or they like McGregor. I get it. We've all got our favourites. But I liked Alvin Ayeti and he was hopeless. But I wanted to give him a chance. And I looked Sparkas and he's got ability. Look, he's played at this level. Hopeless. So I got it wrong. And
I think it says everything, Ryan, that other teams target that position. That's not just your. That's just your.
It's no saying that Greg Taylor's not a good player because he's far better than I've done to play the level. It's just sometimes there's a level. And like I've said to you in the previous podcast, see when Kieran Taylor comes in, then you'll see the level we're talking about. The level
other teams will be targeting Kieran Tierney.
No, of course not.
But they all target Greg Taylor, so that either this is just big, it's an illusion or something that people are seeing that Greg Taylor, but it can't be coincidental that each team, domestically and European, seem to be targeting that side.
But listen, I could look silly and then Bayern Munich go and target Jeffrey Sloop tonight. It could happen. But we can only talk on what we've seen so far, William, and it's no down in Taylor, Scales, or Eder's no scored many goals, 14 games. It's no down in players. We're just saying, from our perspective, that's where teams normally target it.
Yeah. I can go back over various goals in Champions League over the last couple of years even, and Greg Taylor has been at fault for some of them. But also not only that, I'm not sitting here bashing Greg Taylor just for the sake of it. I'm only giving an opinion that I feel that Greg Taylor isn't at that level. Liam Scales is not at that level. That is why we went and signed Austin Trusty. We went and signed Kieran Tierney because we want to progress at European level. That's why we're bringing him back. Like we've had to strengthen that area of the field because, as I said, Taylor's been there. We had Bayern, obviously, who'd done all right in some games. Obviously, young, though, still learning. We really needed a ready-made left-back coming in there, and we've got it in Tierney, which is great, who can play at that level, no problem. So there is players within our team who just aren't at that level or might not get to that level. I think, but given the age of guys like maybe Greg Taylor now, that he might not, as Alan put it, his ceiling, he's reached maybe the ceiling of his ability in terms of what level he's going to get to. But there's no getting away. He's still a great player for us in Scotland and helping us win leagues and win cups and things like that. There's no getting away from that. And how he plays and how we play really suits, the style that Brendan wants to implement and how he comes in and plays as a midfielder. And he was obviously a midfielder back when he was a young player as well, helped us. But there is aspects of his game, especially defensively, that he really, really struggles, especially in the Champions League, because he's up against elite level players. You've got to either up your game at that level or you're going to just drown. I'm not saying that Greg Taylor drowns in every game, but there's things that he does should be done better. And sometimes it's basic. Like the game last week was basic for me. It's really body shape, awareness, awareness of the player you're up against, awareness of the player awareness of where your defensive line is, so you're not playing on one side. So I think you've got to look at it and say, we're upgrading that position with a player who, from an ability point of view, is better than what Greg Taylor is, and that's Kieran Tierney.
They're roughly, I think, what is Taylor's 26, Tierney's 28, aren't they? Roughly around about that age, aren't they?
Roughly the same age, aren't they? I think, I don't know what the ages are, but they're roughly the same age. Obviously, that's what I mean in terms of ability, though. In terms of intelligence, game intelligence, Kieran Tierney's far superior than Greg Taylor in that position, in terms of playing that position.
I get what you're saying, JP, but it's not a point scoring thing on to make Greg Taylor look better, mate.
If we're comparing Carter Vickers to Greg
was that? I
Taylor,
missed
come
that
on,
there,
JP, behave
No.
yourself, man.
Oh,
I get what
In
JP's
terms of
saying.
quality
I
level,
get,
come on.
listen, I get what he's saying. Players have all made mistakes. This isn't about
course
just
they do.
Taylor making mistakes.
Aye.
But this is why some of these players are playing with Celtic, because they make certain mistakes. If Jota didn't make mistakes or done the right things, he'd probably be at a bigger club than Celtic. Same with Nicholas Kuhn, he would have been at Bayern Munich if he'd done the right things when he was younger. Engels would have maybe went to Bayern Munich if he'd done better things. And it's all about making players look better. I've seen people saying to me,
Right,
you
I
are
think people are misunderstanding that what we're saying about Greg Taylor, right? We've given Greg Taylor a lot of praise in the past for what he's done domestically, right?
aye, there's no getting away from that.
He's reached a level that only some of us only dream of. Like he's played professional football for
Put
the
it
club
this
we
way.
love, and he's
See,
a
put
good
it this
player.
way. Put it this way. If Greg Taylor was good enough at Champions League level, would you be letting him leave for nothing?
I know. So it's not a massive criticism on Greg Taylor. It's a bit of realism. We need to be realistic. Right? If we want to progress, we're talking about this year that we've done better in the Champions League. We've got into the playoff round. And if we want to progress even further, then there's certain areas of the team that we could improve in that area. We should be looking to improve. And for me, right, we have been looking to improve. There has been managers that's played Greg Taylor, but we've brought in the likes of kind of Ball and Golly. We've brought in the likes of Burnaby. These haven't worked, and Greg Taylor has been consistent, maybe not at the level that we desire. And that's why we're looking at the likes of Kieran Tierney. Bring Kieran Tierney in, and Kieran Tierney's far superior level than what Greg Taylor is at present. It's not a slight on Greg Taylor, it's not a massive criticism on Greg Taylor, but I think he's reached his ceiling, and I think if we're looking to progress, then we should be looking for better quality in each position, and that's what Kieran Tierney is.
Also a good point here. I get what MT Celts is saying. We can talk about that goal, the Kane goal. You're right, MT Celts. I did think it was Johnson's fault. I think you, Alan, JP and Barry Barney spoke about it in terms of, I think football says now it's no zonal and it's no zonal and just man marking. It's all different. There's areas, and obviously Celtic had that.
A bit of hybrid. I think.
Yeah.
Alistair Johnson was left without a man. I don't think it's solely down to Alistair Johnson. I think it's down to the entire unit. So basically, everyone's picked up a man, and nobody's actually even said. I don't think Johnson sees him, to be honest. Nobody's actually said or organised it and went, right, Alistair, you need to get him. You need to get Kane. I don't think that actually happened. I think there was a breakdown complete in communication at that point, which can happen. But see, just getting back to the Greg Taylor debate just now, a couple of things I just want to make a point on is obviously we're bringing Kieran Tierney back, and Kieran Tierney is going to be getting paid a fair amount of money, I imagine, maybe 30 grand a week, 40 grand a week, whatever it is, right? There is no way on this earth that Celtic are going to spend 25 grand a week on what apparently what Greg Taylor's asking for, and 40 grand a week. We're going to spend 65 grand a week in two left backs that are fighting for the one position. We have went and moved for Kieran Tierney to upgrade ourselves on what we've already got. Now, Celtic have probably gave Greg Taylor an offer, but it's probably a lot less than what he's looking for, right? Which is fine. But I think Celtic see Greg Taylor becoming second to Kieran Tierney. I don't think it's going to be the two of them fighting for the position. And I think that's reflected in what his contract offer is. That's why Greg Taylor's now moving on. Now, the other thing that I'm going to make the point on with Greg Taylor is I think Greg Taylor is a very good left back. I'm taking nothing away from him for what he's done for us domestically. But let's be honest, if he's signing for Dynamo Zagreb, kind of tells me there's not many options for him. And I'm talking about Premier League and Championship. I don't think he's a Premier League left back. I might be wrong here. I'm sure there's probably a few Championship teams after him. They're not going to pay a left back 25 grand a week. No way on this earth. So I think he's obviously looked at it and went, where can I go that I'm getting the contract that I want? And maybe there is a bit of, I'll go abroad and a bit of experience, stuff like that. There's no denying that whatsoever. But I think the fact there's not those offers coming from England, potentially, or concrete offers from England, tells you the level where he's at.
I don't think he'll be a miss in terms of being in the squad. And listen, I think he's a good player. There's no doubt about it. He will be missed because you will need to then replace him.
Yeah.
Because he's been here for so long. He's been part of a winning team. He's won trebles. He's been amazing for us. But sometimes in football, you need to eventually move on to be better. So eventually there'll be a striker out there better than either. Eventually there'll be a player better than Engels. There's players that are always going to be eventually better that you might look at to try and sign. Doesn't matter what, you always need to try and upgrade. Like Ralston, like you says, for me, William, Ralston's a domestic player, right? And he's able to run and play with it. But we probably do need to upgrade that position. But like you've said there, William, can we then go and get somebody better and give him maybe just a bit less of money than Johnson, who might be the right back all the time? And is that guy going to be wanting a lot of money to beat Celtic, but then will Celtic going to play him a lot for the money?
Well, the idea is the ideal solution, or the ideal world, is that Ralston gets better under Johnson and then takes over Johnson. But as you're saying, we don't think that's going to happen. We think that he's not going to quite get to that level. So Celtic then they look for maybe a younger player that plays under Johnson and then gets better. That's the decision that they need to make from a squad depth point of view. I just think that my point on Greg Taylor is, like, he would have had better offers for me, like in terms of going to England, a better level of football. Like, I know Dynamo Zagreb obviously played Champions League this year, fantastic, brilliant. I think the Champions League format has really helped clubs from other leagues really play in the league phase and stuff like that this year, the way it's worked with the seedings and stuff. But I don't think the Croatian Premier League's anything to shout about. Not compared to England anyway. So I just think Greg Taylor's found his level, and the level isn't Champions League level for us, and that's why we need to strengthen that position. That's why, like you're saying, we probably need to strengthen the right back position. We need to find somebody younger that's going to come on and push Alistair Johnson on, because these players are not going to be here forever. But you've always got to have a ready-made player to step in and take over, or one you can identify out there through your recruitment analysis. Like even the Kyogo situation, we've obviously identified Fiskgarden, but we just can't agree on the fee. So they've obviously went, well, we'll just leave it to the summer and try and deal with it then, and we'll run with what we've got.
Because obviously as well, you've got Johnny Kenny, and eventually we'll probably need to upgrade him, because he might want to go and get game time elsewhere. Because is he going to be happy sitting for choice, maybe not playing? Probably no, he'll want to give out play game time.
Rogers said that after the press conference, that the plan was Kenny was going back out on loan. Apparently St Mirren had come in for him. So they've obviously got a development plan in place for Johnny Kenny. Let him play in Ireland, banged in all sorts of goals in Ireland. Right, let's take him up a notch. Let's take him to the Premier League here. Let him play at St Mirren. Let's see how he does there. That's exactly what teams do. They'll try and just hit them with another challenge, But when players get to a certain level or a certain age or a certain experience, like if you take Greg Taylor playing Champions League, we're giving him that challenge every time, but he's making mistakes. Do you know what I mean? It's like, is he ever going to get to that level? That's why Celtic have looked at it and went, if he was playing brilliant at Champions League level every game for us, they would have went and spent 40 grand a week on him. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's the way to look at it. So you've got to always hit players with challenges, and if they can rise to that challenge, then right, give them another one. Let's push them on further again. Then eventually sell them, or let them obviously keep playing in the team and obviously be part of your success.
It's just about trying. It's not about downing players. Listen, we all don't agree on everything. There's guys who really like better.
The last thing we want to do is be negative towards Celtic players, but you need to have a sense of realism about what levels of quality that players have got. Now, if we want to continue to progress and we want to reach a higher level of quality, then you need to be realistic, and we can't sit here and go, oh no, we shouldn't be slagging Taylor. Right, we're being realistic, right?
Let's be honest, mate.
Taylor.
It's a numbers game. Right? It's a numbers game, mate. Everything's a numbers game in football, right? It's got to be, whether it's the stats, whether it's your wages, every club needs value in every player. And at Celtic look at the Greg Taylor situation. He wants X and we're offering Y. We'll see what you want for X. We don't see value in that. We don't see the value in that. We can get better value by going and getting Kieran Tierney. We see value in paying him more. Do you know what I mean? That's exactly how it works. It's no us knocking, like you just said. We don't want to. I'm not here to criticise Celtics, but there's got to be a realism in terms of how the game and how the business of football works, and that's exactly how it works. As we talked about earlier on about, Greg Taylor should play because he played every other game. No, like you pick a team to win that game. There's managers over the years that have dropped players for cup finals that have probably played every game up to that point, but he'd done it to try and win that game, and I'd imagine more often than not they've been successful. But
maybe
it's just the way football is.
I'm sorry, William. Maybe Kieran Tierney's an anomaly, but when you look at the team, because his connection with Celtic, right? But you look at the teams that were supposedly in for Kieran Tierney. I think it was like West Ham.
A couple of Premier League teams.
There was a number of Premier League teams, maybe not the top end. But then you look at Greg Taylor, like this is just all kind of rumours or stuff that we've read. But it's Dino Zagreb. Now this isn't down in Greg Taylor, right? But you look at the quality that's after Kieran Tierney, and then you look at the quality that's after Greg Taylor, and there seems to be a substantial gap between the quality of leagues there and probably the quality inside. So for me, we don't want the final thing. I'm fed up talking about Greg Taylor, right? But the final thing you want to say about it is, right, we're positive about Celtic players, but you need to be realistic. We need to be realistic. If we want to move on, we've been trying to replace Greg Taylor for a number of years with Bernabei, with who's that? Bolingoli, I him flew off to Benidorm, etc. Who knows what. And it's not worked out. And luckily enough, we've got the connection there with Kieran Tierney. There is question marks over his head about fitness, injuries, etc. And that's the only reason that we're able to attract somebody like Kieran Tierney is because his Celtic background and there's question marks over his head. You're talking about a couple of years ago, he was kind of linked with big clubs. There was just links, rumours, etc. Big clubs like Man City, like Real Madrid, when he was playing at a very, very high level. But because he's maybe got the question marks over his head and because of the connection he's got with Glasgow Celtic, we're able to make quite a big coup in bringing back Kieran Tierney. And I hope it works out fantastically well.
And also, right, tonight, lads, your team, William, tonight, what do you think we'll go with? How do you think the approach will be? And do you think we can possibly get a result?
I think the team, for me tonight, I don't know what, to be honest, I don't know what Rodgers is going to do, to be completely frank. But for me tonight, it's going to be obviously Casper, Johnson, Trusty, Carter-Vickers, Schlupp. I'm going to go with Schlupp, left back. McGregor, Engels, Hatate, Jota, Maeda, and Kuhn is for tonight. In terms of, do I think we get a result? Really, the realism, as you're saying, Alan, is really hitting me in the head right now. It's going to be so difficult. I think there's different things we can do to try and win the game, try and be positive. I'll be honest, if we get a draw tonight, I'll be quite happy, especially over there. I think it's a tall order though to go through. I do think it's a tall order. But listen, stranger things have happened in football, so you never know.
And yourself, Alan?
It's that same team. I think as long as we go with playing Maeda through the middle, and that's the only question. I think, does Maeda play through up front through the middle, and who plays out of Taylor and Schlupp? I think that's the only two questions. I think the rest of it kind of picks itself. For me, I go with the exact same team as William. In regards to whether we get a result, my head tells me a 2-0 defeat, but my heart tells me a 1-0 victory and then winning in penalties. So I'm going to go with my heart. I'm going to be positive and go with my heart, but it's going to be a monumental task. As I say, it's a mammoth ask for us to go away from home at Bayern Munich and play a team of that level, a team of that quality. And
I hope so, JP. I hope so.
It's going to be a mammoth task for us to play a team of that level, a team of that quality, and come away with a win. Never mind a kind of draw. It'd be all the moon with a draw, but it doesn't kind of progress as any in this. No, so I'm trying to be as positive, and I'm sure that the nearer it gets to the game, you know what it's like, lads. That you're like, oh, maybe we can do this. Come on, this is it. We're gonna beat them. And then the next minute, you've got Toby running into the bookies putting on 5-0 Celtic. So don't do that. So let's just hope for a positive performance. I think if we can keep it respectable, if we can hold our own to a certain degree, and if a result follows that, then absolutely phenomenal. Because I'll tell you what, if we manage to qualify tonight, it would go down as one of the best results in my history. No doubt about that. Yeah. So it's going to be a humongous task. Let's see how it goes and just enjoy the fact that we're at the top table.
See, I think it all depends what he wants to go. Because I actually think if he plays Maeda, through the left-hand side, I think he'll play Taylor at left back. But if he plays Meda through the middle with Jota, I think he'll play Sloop. So I think it depends, just my opinion, I think it will depend where he plays Maeda. Because I think if he plays Maeda, he'll play Taylor for maybe the experience aspect, knowing that he's got Maeda to help him down that side. But if he plays Jeffrey Sloop, then I think he plays Jota, because it gives Jota the leverage to he can't really cheat in this game, but Jota can go more forward because he'll maybe rely on Slip with the pace and the athleticism he's got. But with Taylor maybe playing with Maeda, he knows Taylor will be there all the time because Maeda's there. So I think that's just my opinion. I think it will be the team user says, but I think if he plays Maeda through the left, I think he might play Taylor at left back. That's just my only thinking.
Domino effect, shall we say?
Aye, I think in terms of certain players, I think they'll depend how we play. I don't want to say go for it, but we've got to go for it at some stage, because if we're starting a game, especially after half time, I think that's the key. If we get into half time, ideally level or victor 1-0 or whatever, then it'll be momentum that carries on. But I know we beat Barcelona or Celtic Park, that was unbelievable, but I think if we turn this round, I think it's the best result in history. Take away the beating.
Have we ever won in Germany?
I don't think we have, William, no. No, we drew with Gladbach, didn't we? We drew with Gladbach, didn't we?
Yeah.
Maybe going way back, I don't know, but I can't remember us ever winning in Germany. So I think you're right, mate. I think it would be a massive achievement.
That's it, Toby. No, spot on, mate. Cheers, mate. Spot on. No, I get winning the European Cup it's probably the best thing we'll ever do unless we do it. Well, this team does it, or if I ever see it. But beating Barcelona was amazing. That team's probably the best club team ever. But I think to then go and beat Munich away from home under a deficit to get through to the last 16, I think it's the last 22. I think that for me is the best I'll ever see. Beating Barcelona is amazing, but to go to Munich with a financial quality.
If we ever beat Queen's Park, maybe that's a monumental result.
Beat Queen's Park.
You can look back now. I don't know if it would have been time, but maybe that's a brilliant result as well.
I don't really think on that, lads, if with Taylor and Sloop and stuff, but I just think it will depend on Maeda. I think that's just my opinion. I think it will just depend on where he plays Maeda. Because if he plays him left back, left mid, then they might play Taylor. Well, no, say left mid, the left of the front three. I think he'll play Taylor for experience, but then he knows Maeda's there to cover him. But then if he plays Jota, I think he'll play Sloop. That's just what I'm thinking, William.
Aye, no, I think that's a good way to think about it, mate. Because that's the way the game went last week, wasn't it? So. I think it's got to be Sloop for me and Jota, and I think we just give it a go, give it a right good go tonight. It's massive challenge, but listen, as Alan quite really put it, that's why we're at the top table. That's why we're there.
For yourself, Alan, your last thoughts of the game tonight?
I'm making sure I've got a nice wee blanket behind the couch so that I'm comfy when I'm hiding there.
A wee hot water bottle.
Aye, it could be a long night, but hopefully it's a positive one. I think it's difficult to watch when you're so under the cosh in games like this. I think the last week, with the first half, it was at times you were sitting there kind of petrified of what they're going to do, and they're kind of watching them with constant possession. So yeah, let's just kind of appreciate that we're playing against a side of this level. We'll manage to kind of keep ourselves slightly in the tie, shall we say, for the second leg. So try and take as many positives out of this campaign as we can. If it's not really expected for us to go any further than tonight, so let's just enjoy it, lads, and see what happens.
Yep. If you do like the content, you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. It helps us get guys like William on. It helps us grow the channel. It helps us put it out to you on a weekly and daily basis. If you are just new to the channel and you don't already know, we are doing a bonus ball. It is on the running bar down below. It is a signed Joe Miller ball. Joe Miller signed top, and it is framed and signed. That is the first photo of the signed jersey, a wee signature from Joe. And the most important thing is the signed authenticity, just to let you know that it is prim and proper. The wee plaque as well from Joe, just to say it's hand signed, and Joe with the cup. And this is the full version of the jersey. As signed and framed, we have 14 balls left. If you do want a wee shot of it, that is the payment details. It's ryanclifford9@aol.co.uk. If you haven't got PayPal and you do wish to have a wee shot, you can contact myself, Alan and JP on social media, and we can give you another option how to obviously go about that. Like I said, it is £5 a ball. And we'll hopefully get that done soon for you. And the next time we are live, when the balls are all took, we will do it live in person. But again, lads, thanks for your time today, William. I appreciate it again, mate. Good knowledge. Brilliant chat. Hope we've not took too much of your time, mate.
No, you're okay. You're all good.
Hopefully, I'll mention you tomorrow for the next round if we get through tonight, which is going to be amazing, mate. But until then, lads, hope you stay safe, enjoy the game tonight, and I'll see you very soon.
Take care. Hail, hail.
Cheers, guys.